In this lesson, we'll take a look at a few ways we can add and remove objects and attributes to and from layers. We'll be working with our run animation again, only this time with the head turns already added. And let's say if we wanted to add more of a twist to the character's torso as he's turning his head. Well, can add then the chest control to our head turn layer and possibly even rename it from there. But to show you that process of adding objects, you'd first want to select the object that you'd like to add to your layer, okay, followed by the layer you'd like to add the attributes to, and then we can go to Layers, Add Selected Objects, and let's go ahead and take a look at the options. Alright, so we've already seen these options, but I'm going to go ahead and elaborate on exactly what they do for us. So the first is going to take every keyable attribute tied to the object in the channel box and add all of those to the layer. The next option might be the cleaner route where we're able to specify what attributes we'd like to add. So maybe we'd only want to add rotation or maybe one of the rotate attributes. Well, we can select that and only that will be added. And we'll take a look at another way we can do that. And then the last option is a way we can tell Maya what to exclude from the layer. So in this case, only the scale attribute is going to be excluded. If we had any dynamic attributes, Boolean, or enumerated attributes, they would all be added. Alright, so that's how these options work. So in this case, if we were to choose from channel box, okay, we can go ahead and select our rotate attributes and add those. Or another option, of course, is going to be to choose all keyable attributes except, and we can turn off dynamic, Boolean, and enum. And then we can add the translate and rotate if you'd like to add both. So, being that we're only going to be rotating the chest, I'll go ahead and just exclude everything save rotation. Alright, so now when we choose apply and close, notice only the rotate attributes are going to be added from the chest control to this head turn layer. So maybe we can now double click this, call this torso twist. And we can work on animating this quickly. So we'll go to about frame 100. With the object selected, we'll set a 0 key. And what's nice is, again, we're staying a little bit cleaner with the animation of our attributes tied to this layer, because now, rather than keying everything here, we're just keying the rotate attributes, what we need to key. Alright, so from here we can go to frame 110 and rotate the chest. We may need to even compensate the head, so that's not twisted as much. We'll press Shift E. Okay, we'll go to about frame 150. Press Shift D once again to lock in the pose, and then on 160, well, we can use Save 0 key to bring that back. Alright, so there we have it, our chest twist. We could always go to the head control, go to frame 110 and rotate it so again he's looking at the camera, Shift E, and then 150, again looking at us, press Shift E. Alright, and there we have it. So that's how we can add objects to layers. And we also took a look at a few ways we can add attributes to layers. Now, to remove an object from a layer, with the object selected, with the layer selected, you'd go to Layers, and you'd move down to Remove Selected Objects. So now notice once we do that, our animation is going to be removed, of course. Okay, it's essentially just cleaned all of that information up, bringing it back to the base level in this case. So that's how we can remove objects. Now let's go ahead and discuss adding and removing attributes. So again, picking on our chest control, if we just wanted to add attributes, we can go ahead and select our layer and actually just select from the channel box, right click, and if you notice we have these new options in the right click menu in the channel box. We can add to selected layers and also remove. So that's where that's found. So if we want to go ahead and add, again, those attributes from the chest, we can go ahead and do it that way. This is the same thing as using the channel box option in your add selected object settings. Alright, so again we can go ahead and add the animation if we like. Or another way, if we were to right click and just remove these objects, we can get familiar with that. Another way to add and remove attributes is to actually use the relationship editor. So if we were to right click on one of our layers, or even if we were to go to the layers menu, whichever we like, we'll choose membership once we select our object. Now notice the relationship editor opens up for animation layers. And to now add objects, we'd first select our layer to add. Can go ahead and expand that to see what else is added to it. Notice all of our head attributes are tied to it. Next, we'd go to the object that we'd like to add the attributes from. So in this case, we just expanded the attributes of the chest control, clicking on the inner plus sign. And now, with our layer selected, we can just go in and say, all right, I just want to add the rotation X. Well, that's added. Rotation Z, that's added. Rotation Y. All right. So this is a great way to even add and remove attributes. If you'd ever like to remove attributes, you can simply, again, once you click the layer and you see the attributes that are tied to it, you'd simply click it once again. So it's a really quick way to go in and do this process. All right, so now that that's done, okay, we can go ahead and close this out. Also wanted to show you something else before we add the animation once again. If you also want to see what objects are tied to a layer, you can always go to to layers and choose selected objects. So with the layer selected, if we choose selected objects, it's going to show us both objects that have been added to our layer, or however many objects we have added to the selected layer. Okay, so we can see. So that's one way you can also check to see what objects are tied to your layers. Alright, but enough said. Let's go ahead and finish the animation off by just adding that twisting once again. So we can go to frame 100, set a 0 key, go to frame 110, add the twist that we need to the torso. So the character's looking at the camera. The head should already be taken care of. So press Shift E. We'll go to frame 150. Okay, maybe add just a slight offset. Shift E. And then on frame 160, we set a 0 key. And there we have it. So if we were to go ahead and close this out, hide our controls, hit play, this is what we end up with. All right, great. So that, again, is how we add and remove objects and attributes to and from layers.